Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Nyawa ti servayari ti tas kung karawi que tu sabes na yuja talo waganyato ang kataso katunzone ti tinurado sa sungway dito ti ay sa bisarata yung bona gare. So thank you very much for your kind invitation, and my name is Katitzagwas. I am Turtle Clan from the people of the Flint. I'm in Ganasadage right now, and I want to thank everybody for putting this together and for your understanding and why I can't be with you. It's a great honor to be asked to be part of this esteemed panel, and I want to echo some of what Ron has talked about in regards of why the Declaration is so important, and why should we pressure Canada to implement this, and indeed, for those of us who have relatives on the US side, why it's important to also have the American side implement it. And how does this relate to climate change? Well, one of the preamble in paragraph 10 talks about that convinced that control by Indigenous people over developments affecting them and their lands and territories and resources will enable them to maintain and strengthen their institutions, cultures, and traditions, and to promote their development in accordance with their aspirations and needs. And one of the things that I was taught as well in the Longhouse is that our rights have always been international. Our treaties are international. And so this is one of the most comprehensive international human rights instrument. And it doesn't create new rights. What it does is it recognizes, it affirms our rights, it takes into account the historical injustices that have been committed by the colonizers. There is so many things in regards to the very pillars of identity that needs to be promoted through this declaration. And even the Right Honourable Beverly McLaughlin, Chief Justice of Canada, has stated that since the beginning, Aboriginal rights have been shaped by international concepts. But given that, we as Indigenous people must use, in conjunction with the Declaration, our customary laws, our traditions, and it has to be human rights based. We can't just kind of say this is our customs if it violates the collective or individual human rights of, say, for instance, women. We know that right now there's the preliminary inquiry into the murdered and missing Indigenous women. The Indian Act created all kinds of forms of discrimination that have reduced Indigenous women's status within society to a point where our safety is threatened. And so we have to kind of think about what is the Declaration about? What is it going to bring to us? It's been said that it is the framework for justice, framework for reconciliation, for healing, for peace, and in many respects is, okay, what does that mean to us? What do we consider peace? What do we consider justice? And in many respects, I believe we need reconciliation amongst ourselves. But in the meantime, while there is development going on, while we're trying to heal from the genocide that was committed by Canada, development goes on. And as that development continues in an irresponsible way, it is threatening the very natural balance. It's accelerating climate that usually changes on its own, in its own time. And so we need to be prepared for that. All the different natural disasters that are coming. So what does that mean to us is that we need to kind of look and protect the environment and not separate our human rights from environmental rights, and how those rights are protected under our languages, or they're promoted under our languages and our culture. And one of the things that we need to realize and respect is that what the colonizers have done is they have imposed a system of governance that promotes their rights, not our rights. And so we need to take a look at the wheel, that this system that is broken, that was imposed upon our people, and try and take and use the UN Declaration as a model of reconciliation amongst ourselves but at the same time, in a way to promote our human rights and our individual rights and our right to self-determination. The Haida, the Taku, and Miksou decisions from the Supreme Court of Canada have all stated that the government of Canada has a duty to consult. And it's not just consultations like the one-stop shopping at a certain level. And I disagree that there are only 3 levels of government if we're going to consider that there are band councils and traditional councils. And then municipalities and all the other things that we are bombarded with. There are multi-level layers of government. And while things need to come down to where the people are actually going to feel how this declaration can benefit us, how it can benefit our socio-economic rights, how does it affect the determinants of health, like income, social status, our social support networks, our education, employment, social environments, physical environments. If we are not doing our job to the present and future generations, and if we are not breathing life into the declaration will be like the Royal Commission, it will be like so many other things, just nice pieces of paper with nice words on a shelf. So we need to educate ourselves on how we can bring this declaration to life, not just on paper or not just with words, but actual life, where we are teaching the youth and the children what human rights is, what respect is, what does actual peace look like. We may not have like the physical wars that are going on overseas, but there are different kinds of wars that are still being used against us. You know, this low intensity warfare, which sometimes is in the form of assimilation, and sometimes in the form of development, and we go and protest, and when we're out there on the front lines. That's the kind of low intensity warfare that we are fighting as Indigenous people, and that is not supposed to happen. States are obligated under their own membership of the UN to promote and respect human rights. And Indigenous peoples are equal to all peoples. It says that in the preamble, so that we have our right to our socioeconomic rights, not what according to the provinces and territories in Canada, but our views on what those socioeconomic rights, but within a human rights-based framework. Our cultural and language rights, not just something that is nice to take out every once in a while, whether it's at a powwow or just like once in a blue moon, but to actually have our children speaking and living their languages so they understand the medicines, so that they can understand what those customs, those stories that they tell us, from whether it's the creation story to how our diet is going to be, you know, to get off of these high carbohydrate, but to bring in the diets that are more natural, and to use the land. I come from an agricultural people. We use the land. We have corn, beans, and squash, which nutritionists, you know, not too long ago, identified those as complete proteins. So we need to kind of re-examine, where are we going? What is it that we want? How are we going to implement this? Not just in conjunction with Canada, but in conjunction with each other. We're always talking about pointing the finger at Canada. Thank you very much. We're always talking about pointing the finger at Canada, but we also have some homework to do within ourselves. And so I think we need a lot of discussion, because what is happening is, while we're discussing this amongst ourselves, the development that's destroying our environment that we rely upon, and not just the environment, but the environment for all our relations, like the moose, like the deer and the fish that we rely on for our sustenance, they're taking that opportunity away, not just from this present generation, but they're taking that opportunity for them to have a healthy and sustainable lifestyle from future generations. And so it's up to us to say, we know what our rights are, and this is what we need to do, is to know what our rights are, and to be able to express that in a way to the colonizer, who, if they have their way, they will tell us what reconciliation is. They will tell us what restitution within reconciliation is, and they will tell us when and where our self-determination will be practiced. And I think we need to look beyond the boundaries of what the colonizers have called us is our reserve system, but on all our traditional territory, and to bring back that kind of self-determination that our ancestors proudly utilized, which was, and promoting those pillars of respect, strength or courage, honor, love, and peace. And with using those very simple components, this is how we're going to move forward. But we need to do it in a way that we examine, we have self-reflection on it, and in a way where our self-determination is going to protect the environment, and to be able to face the kind of crisis and natural crises that will be coming up soon, or if not, that have already hit us. We're not even having a normal winter down this way. It's a very warm winter. So we already know that we shouldn't expect things to just hit us in the face. The natural cycle is happening slower, but it's happening right now. And so we need to step up to the plate and start saying, we're doing our self-determination now, and we need to talk with the government now, and we need to do it in consultation with all our people, not just the band councils, but including traditional councils, because I can tell you the Onondaga Nation has stated that they will accept the pipelines as long as they're painted purple. So what does that say about the Iroquois Confederacy? It says that we are divided. And so there's a lot of work that we need to do in regards to our own self-determination, but based within a human rights framework in which the UN Declaration is providing us with, but also in conjunction with our own customary laws and our customs and our languages. So I guess I'll end there because I know I had the piece of paper come by a little while ago. So now go ahead. Thank you very much. And I hope I wasn't speaking too fast, but it was a great pleasure to be here. Thank you.